That same approach carried over the issue of circumcision that has been imposed by the administration.
My first question is circumcision in my entire life. Do you want to describe to your fellow students what the issue is?
Yeah, sure. It was actually in the news again today. The new administration, through the Board of Health, has required parents of a newborn male who parents want a circumcision form to sign a waiver that they understand the apparent risks involved. There are those in the medical community that claim that a certain ritual called Metzitzah B'peh can cause the infant to contract a form of herpes. It's very inconclusive, and there was a UPenn report today that said that it's very, very dubious, the connection. So I'm just curious, and I know that Bloomberg's board voted like 9-0
right.
to require it, so I'm just curious if
it's a religious issue that needs to be respected. For those of the Jewish faith, for which we have a large number in New York, and then are all required to have bris, 70s? 8 days. Sorry. And I've been to them. Not comfortable for me. But nonetheless, I understand it. I think it's important again for education. The very orthodox where this issue has come up, isn't it very orthodox? It's not widespread now.
pretty widespread.
It is widespread. Look, it requires education. Originally, the mayor wanted outright ban it.
Yeah.
Now he's saying he wants you to have a piece of paper that signs that you acknowledge that you understand it. That's a reasonable approach. Banning it is not. But it's a reasonable approach to tell you what the risks are. And if you understand the risks, when you sign it that you understand the risks, then the burden's on you. It's a good thing to do. I feel government should do. Government shouldn't tell people what to do. Government should, there's this management theory that you'll see in business schools. Does a leader, direct people or put them in the right direction? There's always the analogy of the difference between steering and rowing. A leader should steer people in the right direction instead of making them, instead of going through all the work. And so I've never been, as I said before, I've never been asked. So I really haven't. I follow the issue. I have an enormous amount of respect for religions and religious tradition and culture and all of that. And in this city, it is amazing when I go out to Queens. Sometimes I don't know what country I'm in. I go from one block to another block. I'm supposed to go to some, I can't even tell you the name of the church. And I go inside of the church and it's completely foreign to me. There's any temples and synagogues, and there's any Catholic churches and other Protestant churches. And I go into this church and there's like an elephant. And it's like, I have a crown on the elephant. And it's one of the Indian religions. I can't tell you which one. They're very respectful. And you have to respect them. They go to church. Actually, they call it a temple. They go to the temple and they believe in God, and it's a great thing. And so, I don't want to make fun of them, but it looks different than what I'm used to.
As mayor, would you hold town hall meetings? One of the complaints.
Every month, in different community boards. Prior mayors have done it. I was involved in them. They're a lot of fun. And those town hall meetings, I would bring my entire cabinet. We'd all sit in an auditorium in the school, the largest auditorium in the district, put everybody up front and allow the public to come in and ask questions for 2 hours. That's
one of the things that people liked about Mayor Giuliani.
Sorry?
That's one of the things people liked about Mayor Giuliani. Just felt that he was
there. I remember them. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
New Yorkers are fun kind of people.
Yeah.
They really let you know what they want, what they need, and what's going on in their community.
I remember calling him on the radio. He had every Friday on John Gallon.
You weren't. Call him a lot on the radio?
No. One time I called for someone else I had a problem.
Right.
10 minutes after the show was over, he called me personally, and I did not expect him to call.
Success in government is follow-up. The most important thing to do is to follow up. You need someone to follow up. Actually, it's important in life. If you're going to make a to-do list, don't throw it out. Finish it. Just cross them off. Get through that list and get through it. And that's an important part. It really is. Yes, sir.
I live in Brooklyn, and
Me too.
It seems to me that there's a problem in every neighborhood of every borough. There's just nowhere to park your car, and they put up they take down these houses and put up these big apartment buildings. You know, the population to me it seems like it's growing in the city and more cars. And
We got a mayor who wants us to get rid of our curb because there's furniture in the street, bike lanes.
Exactly. So what are we going to do about the parking?
We have to do something about parking. There are numerous different proposals out there. Some people want to do parking permits, where people pay for parking spots and permits all throughout the neighborhood. We have to do something. As they build big buildings, they need to build parking garages. Not for every apartment. If they want them, they can. But for a certain percentage of apartments, there needs to be parking. You shouldn't be allowed to, you know, they give you special credit if you build a park and they'll let you be able to toll a building. And nobody ever concerned about the fact that when you do it, build parking inside the building, do it underground, do it whatever you can do it. Way too many buildings are being built in New York without parking.
How about
That's not
moving
good plan.
Can we move the fire hydrants and the bus stops because they'll be parking there anyway?
I got two first today. Which came first? Which came first? The fire hydrant or the bus stop?
The fire
Fire hydrant, yeah. Because, look, I never thought of it.
I think they should have run.
Huh?
I don't know if you get behind that.
What's that?
I think they should have run. I don't know if you get behind that.
I've never heard that before. Put the fire hydrant in where the bus stops are, since you can't park there anyway.
I'm available for hire.
Not everybody, not every neighborhood has buses. So put that.
I know there's a lot of complications to this, but it seems like Giuliani was able to get elected in a heavily Democratic city because of crime, basically, and Bloomberg probably because of his personal fortune. You know, what are the issues now that are going to be so salient for New Yorkers that you're going to be able to bust through, what is it, 80% something Democratic registration here?
Not that high.
Is it not that high? 70? 70?
No, it's about a 6-to-1 ratio. There's a large block of people who are unenrolled or not enrolled. But nonetheless, there are 6 to 7 registered Democrats for every Republican. He's a political consultant named David Garth, a very famous political consultant, who has this theory that mayors of New York get elected based on a question. And what is the question when people go into the voting booth? People went into the voting booth in the Democratic primary in 1989, where you had Mayor Koch running again now for the 4th term, and David Higgins coming in. That the issue in the city of New York was racial stability, or racial strife, or racial harmony, depends on what perspective you want to look at it. But it was all about race. So people went into the voting booth and they said, who's going to help with the race issue? And David Higgins was able to become successful in the campaign doing it. The campaign focused on race as being the issue, and the guy to be able to fix the race issue since David Higgins. Didn't happen. David Lincoln runs for re-election, and the issue now is crime. And David Garth was putting on his strategy. And he always said, when people go into the voting booth, they have to worry about what their safety is going to be. And the decision is going to be Giuliani or it's going to be Higgins. Who's it going to be? And there was this huge concerted effort that started over the summer. And during that summer, the New York Post had a headline after somebody else was murdered. Actually, there were visitors that were murdered on the #1 train to 54th Street, waiting for the train to come down. There were visitors from Australia. And that was on the paper the next day. And then the following day, big headline, Dave do something. 2 or 3 days after that, Daily News had a rotting apple. They got an apple that was rotting away, and it actually called the rotting apple. And that's what they were going to New York. So then, that's all. By the time they get into the voting booth in November, the question on everybody's mind was crime. You get to 2001. How much did 9/11 have to do with the election of Mike Bloomberg? Probably a lot. We'll never know. He was running against a guy named Mark Green. He runs for a lot of offices and never won. It's hard to say what would have happened there. But people at the time were looking for a parent, and Mike Bloomberg played that role very, very well. And that's why I think that, combined with $100 million he spent, went a long way in helping him get elected. I don't know what the issue is going to be. I don't know. I'm fully prepared to see how they develop over a short period of time. In Queens, it's education. In Staten Island, is stairs going over the horizontal bridge. They are up in arms about that. For parts of Queens, Brooklyn, and Staten Island, we'll be sick in about 2 weeks. It'll be 6 months since Hurricane Sandy met. There's still people without homes. I mean, I think the city, state, and federal response is horrific. It has a big issue out there whenever I go out there. Bronx, it's crime. I mean, it depends. There's not one issue at this point in time. I'm waiting. I'll be prepared.
I want to know where you stand on your house for the bid.
I'm not aware, but I have read the Constitution many, many times. I've been involved in a lot of constitutional, especially First Amendment trials in my life. And I will tell you, we do have the right to bear arms in a regulated militia. I think it's not blamed on the Second Amendment. We do have the right to bear arms. I believe the Constitution is not so strict that we can't regulate it. I do believe background checks are important. For me to get a driver's license, I have to take a test. And I have to take the test frequently. Actually, I have to go in every couple of years and get my eyes tested and all that stuff. So I don't think, if you think about it that way, that's the role of the state. The state, not in the state of New York, but the role of the government to do that. I think the government shouldn't make it difficult. I mean, tons and tons of paperwork. But I do think we need to keep guns out of the hands of criminals. I think we need to keep guns out of the hands of those who are having any form of vandalism. And by the way, all the stuff that's talked about guns in Washington, it's all about rifles. It's all about assault rifles. It's all about the size of the magazine. No one's been killed in New York City in a rifle in 5 years. It's all about handguns. And that's the big issue. Majority of the handguns also come from Europe. The most popular handguns that are carried are European based.
Just as a
Follow-up?
Yeah. You said that you don't want it to be difficult. It shouldn't be too much paperwork. I think it's fair to say when people apply for it, it's probably one of the most difficult cities as far as paperwork is legally purchase a gun. They may or may relax the
I'll look into it. I look into it. I've heard this a couple of times over the last week, and I commit to look into it. Did you apply for it now?
I did not. I agreed to look into it. So the permit fees, I decided
How high are they?
there's 2 different fees.
Why would you want it?
Well, I looked into it. I obviously wasn't going to purchase it that day, but check it out. That's probably the way to do it.
Your opinion about civil right of same-sex marriage?
What's my opinion of
Yeah,
same-sex
and
marriage?
yes.
I'm okay with same-sex.
But you will do something.
I will, as mayor, perform same-sex
As
marriage.
mayor, what can you do?
The mayor can marry people. I will.
But you have the right to change the
law?
The law
No, I
about
do
that.
not. I do not. That's in Albany. The state legislature and the governor control those laws here in New York and the city of New York. Would you like me to have?
I like that you change it.
You want it to go back?
Well,
You believe
in
it?
Italy we don't have this kind of right. And it should be interesting.
It's evolving in this country. It's evolving
like-
all throughout the world. I mean, I recently came to this understanding a year ago. I mean, if 2 men want to get married and 2 women want to get married, they can be just as unhappy as I am. No, it's on my way. That's not true. But no, you know what? It's really interesting. I cannot believe how fast it's changing in this country and evolving. I've never seen the social, in my life, living through the 60s, born in the early 50s, with all of the changes that have happened, I have never seen a social issue like same-sex marriage change right in front of your eyes. I mean, 6 months ago, the United States Senate, there are only 20 senators, now there are 60 senators. They're all changing their mind. It's really becoming quite a